Right.
Let's do it.
Just a Thought podcast. We are back. Shout out Andre. Andre cannot be here with us today, but Andre, we hope you're having a good week. Stay tuned. He'll be on for the next one. Andre, much love. Continue your weekend with a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, and we'll see you next time, bro. But we got a second timer, man. We got the Moss Plug, aka Stephaugn, man. Brother, I'm happy that you're back on the show, man. How's everything been?
Everything's been great, man.
Yes,
Everything's been
sir.
great. Of course, riding the waves like we all do. You know what I mean? But overall, I would not complain about anything.
Yeah, man. Yo, you look good, man. You look good. I
I
see you.
appreciate it, man.
I see you with the ball cut, man.
I appreciate it. I wish I kept the hair, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely did not. You know what I mean? But I feel like I think it worked out for me. I gotta be honest, it was nerve-wracking as ever before I, saw what I looked like without it. So,
It
you
looks
know,
good, bro. You look young, man. It look good on you.
appreciate
Some
it.
people can't rock
Appreciate it, man.
the ball look. I myself, my head is too big, bro. I look mad
Nah,
awkward with a ball head.
hey man, hey, trust me, I still think I'm kind of leaning on that big-headed side, but I had to just do what it does and kind of just take pride in the beard, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
that's really
man.
just,
So
what I'm doing.
what do you use for your beard? Cause I'm slacking on the beard game.
Honestly, man, I don't really use much of anything outside of like I'll, lather it in some coconut oil, or sometimes I even use a mixture of coconut oil, a little bit of split with olive oil, and then maybe some ACV or something like that, just some home concoction to something. I don't really, I gotta be honest, I don't have like huge major study background on it. If I have some good herb oils, I'll try to kind of work that in and experiment if it makes the hair, look, feel, grow certain type of way. And, right now, just a little bit of cut, some water, and some either coconut or olive oil seems to do the trick.
But why I never heard of olive oil though. Why olive oil?
Well, I mean, it's just got a lot of the essential vitamins in there, or minerals, you should say, for hair growth. Just like, if you will, oregano oil would as well, like re-hair growth,
Yeah.
So, and it just helps with moisturize, really, honestly. I don't worry about that beard growing too much because it really does grow kind of rapidly on its own. But I like to keep it moisturized. Because if it don't, then it just kind of looks a little bit more raggedy. Sometimes I kind of take care of it, but
Well,
it
bro,
makes push.
where I live at in Spain, I live where the weather is like the air is dry. We're not near an ocean. We're not near a sea. So like kind of the air that we get is like dry. So when I walk around during the summertime, bro, my like around this area gets mad dry, bro. And
Yeah,
like I usually use like tea tree, but then I realized tea tree is a little bit too strong for the skin if you don't have nothing to like back it up with. So I use tea tree, I use coconut oil, and I kind of mixed it together and I was putting it in my beard. But like yo, still getting dryness, bro. Like
yeah,
still like itchy and shit. So I stopped using like it all together. I use more so cold water. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Cold
yeah,
water kind of keeps it hydrated, but like I didn't know you could use olive oil, bro. That's why I had to
yeah,
ask.
yeah. Definitely. I mean, don't definitely. I don't do use too much. I cut it. You know what I mean, a little bit. But it definitely works at keeping it moisturized, at least over here. I don't know if like the temperature has anything. I'm sure it does have a lot to do with it, but it definitely is really helpful in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the temperature because like where you live at CT, we're surrounded by water.
yeah,
So
especially
like
right now.
you, yeah, like you live in New London, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you're basically on an island, pretty much.
yeah,
Like so you guys get humidity, and the humidity, even though it's dangerous, it still keeps your skin moisturized. To
yeah,
whereas if you're not near a coast or a sea, it's like dry. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. I feel you. I feel you definitely.
Yeah, bro. So it's it's
I
kind
definitely feel
of
you.
it's kind of hectic on my skin in the summertime. Like
For you,
especially right
maybe. For you, maybe like something more like a butter. like to work into your beard, you know what I mean? Like I don't really know too much about like the beard products, but I bought one once like way long ago and it came with an oil, a wash, an oil, and then like a kind of like a shea butter kind of work in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and ever since then, I kind of figured you could just do like, at least for me, I could just do a little bit of the oil to kind of keep it, and water to kind of keep it, moisturized, etc. But maybe for you in that area, maybe if you had something a little bit thicker rather than like the oils as well, maybe like a shea butter or something for your hair. So I don't know if there's something like that, but um, that'd just be my
Maybe,
recommendation. I
maybe
don't know.
not. Maybe not, because I know you probably, if you use shea butter, you use like raw. I'm guessing raw shea butter, right? Like
Yeah,
100%. I don't
yeah.
think they have the 100% content out here as they do in the
Okay,
States. So I would have to
gotcha.
like order it. Shea butter, I tried it for my hair back in the day, like when it was shorter. It's dry if you don't use any water. Like if you just try to mix it in yourself, it's really dry. It's really sturdy.
I mean, yeah, nah, yeah. So I really wouldn't know too much about using it. Just I guess because I haven't, I don't really struggle too much with the dry portion, and it must be due to where we're at,
Yeah.
um, as well. But I mean, just it's all just experimentation, and that's just the fun part, like uh, the one thing that I think is easy enough to stay away from is just anything with a bunch of chemicals. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to really do too much damage, I would say, with many things or most things if you're kind of sticking to a wholesome source. Obviously, use something that makes sense. Like don't go grabbing cayenne pepper or something and throwing it in your beard and then expect to, still be
Nah,
preventing
nah,
and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but use something holistic and something that makes sense towards it and just experiment and see what works because we could also be in the same area and use the same things and get different results. You know what I mean?
That is true,
You
true.
know,
That is true, true.
so it could all just be individual. But I like what you also said about the cold water. I don't know how, my skin is looking to others, but I do feel that it helps for me because I splash cold water on my face every morning, just as kind of just to keep the circulation and to keep the elasticity in the skin strong. Also,
Yeah.
as well as like rubbing on the ears over here as well, because when you rub, this creates circulation in this area and brings circulation to the head, and face as well. So that
Yeah,
kind of helps.
actually never thought about that, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be
I
honest, bro, I'm gonna share something weird with you. As a kid, as a kid, I used to fall asleep like playing with like the lobe of my ear, and I would do like the same thing like to my mom and stuff like that, everybody in my family. But I remember thinking like, gotta be creating something, and I kind of researched a little bit at one point, and if you just kind of rub like, not even just the lobe, like the whole back cartilage area, circulation follow throughout the face, everywhere
oh
else.
damn, yo.
So it helps. You can
I'm,
feel
I'm,
it. It works.
I'm gonna remember that because I never thought of something like that before, yo.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yo, so I do that. Like I put cold water on my face every morning. The thing is, when I sweat, that's the problem. When I sweat and I run outside, the dry heat, the sweat, it gets dry all over my skin,
yeah.
and I had to pretty much go home, put hot water to open the pores, and then put cold water. My skin
Mm,
has gotten better from doing that because before, bro, I was using oil, like the oils that we can get back in the states, the castor oil,
yeah,
the tea tree, the olive oil, stuff like this. I was getting that stuff, but like over here, using that stuff on your skin because of how aggressive the sun is,
yeah,
it fucked my skin up for a minute. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
But now
Definitely,
I just do cold water, and like cold water is so vital for your skin, bro.
for
One thing
sure.
I do want to start adapting to is taking cold baths, bro. Cold showers, cold baths,
Yeah,
because I've done it before in my life and I know how beneficial it is for your body. The thing is, I have problems staying in the water
yeah,
when I do the cold bath. Do you do
yeah.
cold baths?
I do. Well, I don't take baths. It's hard, and I really wish for myself that I'd buy like a tub or something like that, or some type of stand-up tub to do ice baths more often because, when
Yeah.
we were playing football back in the day, we used to jump in a couple times and it'd be like an instant rejuvenation. And that was a lot of You know, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body back then too, you know, especially being
Yeah,
young. Um,
that's
so
true.
no, I don't do cold baths, but cold showers is still an option as well. And I kind of combat that too because I know I'm a baby when it comes to cold water. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I'm a little bit of a baby when it comes to that. Like I don't just jump into pools and just jump into lakes because I don't like the shock. You know what I'm saying?
I'll blame you.
I'm the
I'll
I'm
blame you.
the lather up type of dude, you know what I'm saying? First before I jump in, you know, but I know the benefits. So what I've done to kind of tackle it is just I'll take a regular warm shower and just, you know, not do it as hot. And then at the end of my shower, once I'm all clean and everything like that, I'll just turn it on as cold as I can to bear to start. And
Yeah,
then you start noticing how your breathing changes is the first thing you'll notice. You start
yeah, that
noticing the contractions in your breathing and how you go, and so the first thing that I'll try to do is get that breathing under control
yeah,
at that temperature, and then take deep, controlled breaths at that temperature. Make sure I get, you know, the water here at the back of the nape, everything like that. Make sure I lather it up above the arms and everything, you know. And then at that temperature, once it's controlled, what I'll do is just make it a little bit colder. You know what I'm saying? And make it colder to the point that I can stand it. You know what I mean? And
oh,
just,
okay.
you know,
So
and hop
you're
out at
not
that point. Yeah,
so you're
just
not you're not really you're not really tricking your body. Like you're starting off cold and then you're raising it up and like
yeah,
your body. Damn, that actually works. But
yeah, make it
how
a little colder.
but I think the benefits are ridiculous, bro. Like what it does for you, it can numb the body really well, like the blood circulation, like you were talking about. I think it's beneficial. The thing is, I I prefer to take a cold bath because
Mhm.
I would want to get it over with. I know that sounds bad. I would want it to get it
Yeah,
over
I
with
feel you.
all at the same time.
I feel
To me,
you.
having taken the shower and I'm feeling little bits of cold water, it's
Yeah,
like a trick. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I would
yeah,
prefer the ice bath. I did take ice baths when I was in college when I was playing lacrosse, but it was hell, bro. I only stood in the ice bath probably for like 2 minutes, if
yeah.
that.
That's a good amount. That's a good,
If
that's a
that,
good amount,
I might be gassing a
man.
little bit to be honest with
That's a
you,
good amount. I'm more like a minute man when it comes to the ice baths, bro. I gotta be
bro.
honest with you.
But they're so beneficial, bro. And
Yeah,
it's crazy how a lot of us don't like really take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We
yeah.
we 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 go to the chiropractor. We do this. Not saying not knocking the chiropractor's degree or anything, but like
Oh yeah.
little things can be solved by taking ice baths.
And little things can be solved by doing a lot of other little things too, you know. It's
Yeah,
mostly right, it's mostly, and maybe we touched on it the first time, but it's mostly, in my opinion, it's mostly man's desire for comfort and convenience over anything else.
yeah,
Because we could sit here all day, and let's say you and I knew every bit of the science of ice baths and how it could be beneficial, and every bit of the science of, let's say, how it could be dangerous, you know, just to give people both, you know, sides, because you know
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
have people
Compare and
out there that's gonna be
contrast.
like ice baths is this, whatever. But let's just say you and I knew everything from A to Z. We could give it and feed it to everybody, but still the small percentage of people are going to take advantage of that because they're comfortable in hot showers and hot baths.
Right.
That's really it. And they're still
That's
gonna go to
facts.
the
That's facts.
doctor. They're still gonna remain with the same issues. They're still going to complain about. They're still gonna have a varicose veins in their legs and complain about circulation. And then they're still gonna go to the doctor and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars. And they're not gonna do anything at home, which could be simpler to. We're not saying it'll heal you or stop your varicose veins, but how much of a beneficial impact could it have on you? You don't even want to see because you love your hot showers.
Yeah, it's comfortability. It's comfortability
It
over
is.
it's comfortability and it's quantity over quality. Like
Yeah.
I think, yo, if you could just take an ice bath or ice shower, really doesn't make a difference. If you could do that for a minute every day, you will do so good to your body, bro. And
Yeah.
like you said, bro, you save hundreds of dollars on stuff like that. But I want to talk about something and I need your opinion because we talked a little bit about Dr. CB last time. and you
Yeah.
kind of broke down the benefits of what sea moss is. But I want to talk about calories versus fats. Like, why do people look for calories when they're eating food? Why is calories such a big thing? And why are people like overthinking it? Because to me, when I eat, I don't look at calories. I look at the type of fats that are going in my body. I'm looking at what vitamins I can grab, vitamin C, K, D, whatever.
Hmm.
I don't really look at the calories. I think calories are just numbers. I feel like your body knows what you're putting into it. Like your body knows the greens, your body knows the natural sweets, the proteins, the fats that it needs. And I feel
Hmm.
like if you can feel it, and you can feel it when you eat healthy food, you can feel that your body needs that type of stuff. And I feel like when you eat that type of stuff, you don't really need to do calorie watching. But what is your opinion on it? Because a lot of people have this stress issue about, oh, this is too many calories. I can't really eat this.
Yeah. So before I even do anything else, I was looking up something real quick because at one point I was building a kind of study around um, certain paradigms around food, within our country, within our world. And looking at the calorie was one of those things. And I don't have the notes on me, but from what I remember and from what I understand and from what I see, a calorie is a unit of measure. So we have a unit of measure that we've dubbed a calorie to see how much we're intaking and letting go of, right? But there are no what do you need? What tools do you need to count a calorie? Do you know?
Um, what do you mean, like the
You
substance
can
in the calorie?
like
You mean?
let's say society went to crap and we were all reduced to going back to being hunters and gatherers, and you were out in the field gathering a bunch of berries. What tools would you need to be able to determine how many calories you've got in your basket? You don't really know, right?
No, I can't
Because
even get that answer.
and that to me is the answer. If we were reduced back to simplicity, would we need calories as an essential piece of knowledge, tool, a paradigm to help us survive or to help us thrive or enhance into the next level of our beings? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
Now, I so I think although calories, I'm not bashing calories or calorie counting. I think it's beneficial for some people who maybe are really, really struggling on that type of level with their health or their level of intake versus output or whatever it may be. Use a unit of measurement, but it's a unit of measurement. It's nothing, in my opinion, nothing more. So, and I don't think it's necessary for someone to rely on calorie counting to determine how healthy they should be or how much they should take in or let out. It can be a helpful tool, but tools are not masters and tools are not the program either. It's just that. So I think it's not something that I do. It's not I don't use a scale for my food or for anything along those lines. And I know some people do, and it's helpful for the lifestyle that they live. And if it's helpful for the lifestyle that you live, go ahead and go do it. I just tried to think if everything was reduced, that'd be something that I wouldn't need and it wouldn't be something that I'd be able to use. So I'm not going to expend any of my energy worried about it now.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if I'm someone that wants to lose weight, let me give you a
Mhm.
situation. I'm somebody that wants to lose weight, and you're telling me this like calories. There's not uh really there's no importance to it. So I'm asking you this question. Let's say I need to lose weight and I go to you and I'm like, yo, when is the best time for me to enjoy my eating, like a portion? And when is it a time where I can eat less? What would you say? Because a lot of people eat at times where it's not really necessary to eat a lot. And I think that's the problem. Like we choose to eat at these times where our body doesn't have enough time to digest. And I would say also when we eat, we are usually after we're not going to do anything physical. We're either going to sit down, watch a movie, or we're going to go to bed. So what is the time where you can really enjoy yourself eating, and where's the time that you should only be eating a little bit to be able to see success?
So think of it all, not even only just when we're eating, think of it as when is our body still digesting what we've given it, right? And when is digestion at its most optimal, and what are we going to do that also might potentially weaken or disturb the digestion process? So what I would say is think about it at night when your digestion system tends to need to take a break, naturally take a break.
Yeah,
But what happens naturally is, like you said, we eat and we tend to either go lay down and go to sleep. The digestion system needs to work overtime. So now that's us going to our 9 to 5 all day because we're still eating usually 1 or 2 times a day. Most people, I would say, right? Or most people who are needing to go to somebody, and there's nothing wrong with that, for help to lose weight, they're most likely eating throughout the day, right? So that now that's us working a 9 to 5 in the daytime, and we're eating before we go to bed, not giving our digestive system enough time to relax. So now we're also being called up at home and say, hey, come in for another shift. And now while we go to sleep, we're working overtime to digest what we've just given it.
yeah,
So now the digestive system is never getting a break. So what I would say is the best time to eat would be at least a time where you have gone through your day, a little bit of that portion, so that when you've woken up in the morning, when you've broken your fast, with breakfast, break fast. You've broken your fast after you've woken up. You've gotten a little active. I'm not saying go through military Navy SEAL training, when you wake up in the morning. Just get a little active, get your circulation up going. Do 20 jumping jacks and walk up the street or something like that. Drink water, right? Then once you've gotten up, you lively up your body a little bit, have something to eat. Eat your first meal throughout the day. I like to personally eat in the afternoon around 12 or 1 o'clock. That's when my body calls for hunger, when I'm doing it right. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I deviate. When I know I'm doing it right consistently, that's what works.
yeah,
Now, I would recommend for people to eat midday, right? Eat late afternoon, midday, and then make sure that by the time you are ready to fall asleep, that it's been at least an hour and a half or an hour at least. That's kind of pushing it for me, but an hour at least before you go to sleep, especially depending on what you eat.
yeah,
You know, like if you eat a heavy pasta meal, you're gonna want to give that some time. But if you eat a wholesome meal of, you know, curry, chickpea curry, with some bok choy and avocado, and that's all you eat, you could probably get away with falling asleep after half an hour. I mean, after an hour, 45 minutes, or 2 hours or whatever it may be, definitely. So just think
yeah.
about that. Your digestive system is always at work, so I would say midday is best.
Midday, midday. And when's the best time to drink water? Because water,
Before
I
you go
tend to
to
have this problem. I'm not even gonna lie. I tend to have this problem sometimes when I wake up because I'm not a morning person. All right. I usually skip breakfast. I prefer to sleep in a little bit, skip breakfast, wake up, brush my teeth, wash my face, put some
sleep.
clothes on, go to work. You know what I'm saying? I don't really.
Hmm.
So I'm like when I'm at work, I'm still kind of sleeping because I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
But I don't drink water until probably 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'll probably drink 3 liters of water. But sometimes I feel like when I drink water, I feel too full. You know what I'm saying? When
Too
is
full,
the
like
best?
when you eat your food.
Like drinking water alone makes me like, you know what I'm saying? Like what is the best time to drink water? Like I heard too late at night is not really a good time when you should start drinking water. When is the best time?
So I definitely wouldn't recommend late at night when you should start drinking water,
Yeah,
but I also would recommend definitely drinking water like much earlier than about 1 o'clock. What I would recommend is drinking water pretty much upon waking up. So back to your original question to me, if when you asked if you were a person that was coming to me to lose weight, I would the first thing tell anybody, and the first thing I've always told people that I've worked with who have always had success, and it's not even a matter of me giving my opinion. They've always had physical, blatant success. The first thing that I would tell you to do is drink more water and drink immediately upon waking up. And then before you go to sleep, make sure that the last thing that you do intake is water. So that's just my personal approach. And because the way that I see it is water is going to give the rest of our organ systems the fuel that it needs to go ahead and do the jobs that they need to do. We wake up and our systems wake up with us, right? Or maybe that's how I like to think about it. I wake up, I'm a little sluggish. My systems are a little sluggish. I'm not going to go to Dunkin' Donuts and grab a fried piece of dough with some strawberry frosting over it and
Yeah,
eat that.
it's good though. I ain't gonna hold. I
It
don't eat
might
it.
be.
It's good though.
It might be.
Let's not go past that.
It might be. You know what I'm saying? It might be. But the reason I'm not going to do that most likely is because my digestive system is still not caught up to speed where it can handle that type of activity yet. That's like somebody, as soon as I open up my eyes, and I don't even wipe the sleep out of my eyes yet, and somebody telling me to run 10 hills, you know? Like I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet. But now I'm being forced to. So now I gotta lug myself up and run these hills and run back down and run these hills and run back down. I don't want to do that.
What time do
So
you usually wake up?
I wake up real early. Like my biological alarm clock is I wouldn't say real early, but I'm up at 4:40 every morning. Like I just wake up on the dot. Like on the dot. I can't help it. I'm not trying to. I just do. I can't tell you why. So that's another topic.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
understand that, man.
yeah. Yeah, that's
But
another topic.
what time do you go to bed?
I go to bed relatively earlier these days. I've been falling asleep at before like I've been falling asleep at like 11 or before. Definitely. Yeah,
11
so
or before.
I'm getting a pretty good amount of
That's
sleep.
good. That's good sleep. That's good
I'm getting a
sleep.
good amount of sleep.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So what I
4:40.
would say, what I would say still with the water is definitely consume like early on. And I'm not saying for anybody who does choose up this, I wanted to say this for anybody who does choose to wake up and go get a donut, that's fine. But what I would recommend that you do first is wake up your system. And first, before you eat that donut, eat a light water-based type of fruit or
Like
something.
pineapple or papaya,
No,
right?
pineapple, papaya. It doesn't even have to be any of the high digestive enzyme ones. It could be a strawberry, a couple blueberries. It could be, certain things. I wouldn't recommend a banana for somebody who's trying to detox on certain things or keep the sugar level down because it's a lot of glucose. It's going to just coat, you coat your system anyway. But
Yeah,
something high in water based, eat that first, then go grab your donut because you've given your system now a bit of a wake up call. You've given them the opportunity to do some jumping jacks before you have it go run those hills. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's what I
So
would recommend.
my and what because again I have another question like between water with lemon and water, what is the more beneficial to drink? Because a lot of people say water with lemon tends to have the same type of benefits and it tends to give you more electrolytes, but is it true? Is it more beneficial or is just water just
Um,
the best?
well, so I mean, for me, that question is all going to be like a source question.
Yeah,
Like, like I'd rather my my natural spring water than your your tap water with a Walmart lemon in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why gotta be Walmart, man?
I'm just, you know, like I'm just. Look, if I go to Walmart sometimes too. You gotta sometimes go if it's around, But that question is a source question. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and some places tap water is drinkable water, but here where I live, I wouldn't drink the tap water. So it basically, but not to be technical, I mean, if you have good source of both, I would say water with lemon would be more beneficial only because you're drinking a good source of water and you're only adding benefit with the antioxidants and the benefits of the lemon anyway. So yeah, I mean, for sure,
Okay.
water with lemon.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: when it comes to dieting and fasting, what is more beneficial for you? What is more beneficial? Because you hear these stories like diets, they work, and then people get off them. They tend to go back to the weight they started at. Some of them
Yeah,
even more big. Some of them even bigger than what they were before.
yeah.
But then you hear fasting, like you hear good results and you hear bad results. You lose a lot of muscle. You can lose a lot of this. But what do you think is more beneficial, and what do you think someone that is trying to be in shape should do? What route should they take?
I believe that I would always lean on the route of fasting and say this not really usually I'm not a this or that type of person. I can usually always see a benefit in both things.
Yeah,
However, with dieting, of course it has its benefits for people who want a temporary result. And I think that that's what dieting teaches people subconsciously is that I can do this for a temporary amount of time and I may achieve this temporary result, but people start diets not not ready to take on that new lifestyle that they're taking for the rest of their lives. They start diets getting ready to do 10 things on the diet list, but they don't ready themselves or prepare themselves to say, okay, will I want to do this for the rest of my life? Will this be practical to do for the rest of my life for my health? Is
right.
this, you know what I mean? So if you're thinking of a diet and you want to do a temporary thing, but you're expecting a long-term result subconsciously, then that's where most people falter. Fasting is mentioned not only more adequately, but even as far back as our biblical texts, etc. So,
Yes.
what I would always recommend to lean with on that end is that dieting is a man-made construct. You can find your benefits in it, but if you want the real long term, the real truth in the benefit, I would lean toward fasting. And when you fast correctly, you're not losing anything. And when you fast, you're not fasting to lose weight. You're fasting to lose detoxification and to be able to receive the proper health that you would like to hold on to. So losing weight is just a byproduct in when you fast, the same way that gaining weight is a byproduct of a crappy eating schedule. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. The diet is shit, bro. That is garbage. I don't want to hear the South Beach diet, the paleo diet. The that stuff doesn't work, man. Like, cause when you go onto a diet, your mind goes in like, okay, I'm going to try to see what I can do. I'm going to try to see what the benefits are. So
Yeah,
you're committed for what, 1 week, and then the other week your mind is thinking, okay, maybe if I eat this, have a cheat day. Diets usually require a cheat day.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
I think that is the biggest misconception of like joining the diet.
yeah,
Fasting, I think when it comes to fasting, not only is your body receiving benefits, but you become so disciplined. You become laser focused on what you do. I've done intermediate fasting here and there. But like I'm more focused when I do these type of fastings. When how is the when you have you ever tried the intermediate fasting, or do you just do like your regular, like
well,
just
so
start eating at a certain time?
I would kind of count what I do as intermediate fasting. And because I wake up every day, and again, not to say every day, I'm like all people, I falter, but I wake up and I focus on hydration, I focus on nutrition absorption, and I make sure that I don't eat until about a certain time, 12 or 1. And now I don't have to make sure. It's just my body is now used to that. So now with fasting, what it is that I would also say is that when you fast correctly, the reason why people have more focus is because, like we talked about, your organ systems require energy. And when you're fasting and we're not overly pounding work on our systems and putting them into overtime every day and every week, now the energy that our organ systems were using tends to climb its way back up the spinal cord into the system, and we're able to use that energy elsewhere. And that's why we tend to have more focus when we fast. That's why we tend to seem like people are smarter or whatever it may be, or they get the dust out. So
Yeah.
that's happening for a good reason as well. And so fasting is more than just a benefit for weight or for nutritional health, but it's all around benefit, cognitive and beyond. So I
Yeah.
think everybody should look into it. And if you don't do it right the first time, keep practicing. Just practice and do it again another time once you gain your strength again, and keep going. And when you fast, you don't have to have a cheat day, because you can eat whatever you want when you want and you're covered, as long as you just don't start going down the barrel. But you can choose to go out when you fast, and when you have a proper schedule, you can eat what you want when you want, and you don't have to worry about that, because you are going to bounce back, and your discipline is going to get you back on the schedule where that chipped off your shoulder and it was nothing to you.
Yes, that is true. Bro, before we get into it, I'm gonna send you another link. And then we're gonna talk. Yo, so let's talk about what's going on in this nutrition thing, man. We tend to be the leading cause of diabetes, heart attacks, um, type one, type two diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Why is our nutrition bad, bro? And like this has been going on for generations and generations. Like Americans as a whole, but I'm talking about African Americans in this case. Why do we tend to be the number one victim of all these types of health problems? Why is our nutrition so poor?
So I think some people are gonna probably start leaning into what I have to say, and then they're gonna tune out. But I just want everybody to remember, this is my personal opinion. Um, and what I believe here is that we were taught generations ago through dangerous, violent manipulation, programming, etc., to eat certain ways to in order to survive. Right? Our people were put through horrendous tragedies, that are not even spoken about. Um, and before those tragedies, I don't think we have any note of us struggling as a people, nutritionally. So we're just gonna start, in my opinion, from what we had to learn as a people in order to survive, and how those things were continued generation after generation after the manipulation, the violence, the slavery, etc. Right? Now, I'm going to again say that I do believe that we were taught certain things and we were put at disadvantage in a lot of ways, right? Even in our neighborhoods. I don't believe that the war on crack was really a war on crack. I believe that that was put into the systems to break the black homes in our neighborhoods, because once they put crack in our neighborhoods, they specifically targeted the black men, the head of the households in the neighborhoods, and specifically aimed to get men off of the street, in my opinion, right? Systematically, right? This is a system, not by chance, systematically breaking up the home. Because what people forget is that we as a people were strong. We had our own communities, we had our own everything, until the first bomb dropped on American soil was bombed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, ruining that and then erased out of our history books. But let's skip. We as a people have thrived through the hardship that we've gone through, but we've always been attacked. So now, systematically, the head of the household, the man, is out of the home. Right now, you have mothers only in the home raising babies on their own, knowing that the epidemic with pay rate in areas where mostly predominantly our people live, they're struggling. So systematically knowing, once the man is out of the home, mother is there struggling to make payments on and take care of those on their own, knowing that the only place that's going to raise those kids is the streets, and the only place that they'll end up is systematically where they were wanted to end up, in either jail or prison, right? So that's step one. We were taught a lot throughout our neighborhoods. We were given only what? Crap food in our neighborhoods, right? Liquor stores on every single corner. We weren't getting quality food in our neighborhoods, right? For the longest time after this. Things changed, right? Now I'm going to leave that where it is. Number two is that we have the knowledge today, but we don't want to. We want to keep our history so bad that we don't want to enhance beyond it. That's my personal take.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
We have so many, as a people, so many traditions, right? And traditions are is simply just peer pressure from dead people. Like I'm sorry, not all traditions need to survive. I'm sorry if that hurts some people's feelings or rubs you the wrong way. Be rubbed. Not all traditions need to survive. And we keep these traditions and we keep these paradigms, what Black people are supposed to be like, how we're supposed to eat, whatever it may be. Like I think we
Toxic.
just need
It's
to let
toxic
some
stuff.
things go.
It's toxic,
Yeah,
bro.
it's toxic self-inflicted systems, and we keep imposing them upon ourselves while the rest of the world continuously imposes it upon us. But the rest of the world has been able to take the strength off it a little bit, because the more sauce that they did put on it, the more we started perpetuating it ourselves, and then they didn't need to put so much sauce on it. We're just now killing ourselves. We're now murdering ourselves in the street. We're now killing ourselves willingly in feeding ourselves in certain type of ways and with certain type of methods, and knowing that we can enhance from them now, right?
Yeah.
So without all the details, because there's a million, I think as a people, the reason why we're not respected and the reason why we are struggling in this area as well is a lot due in part due to what's been imposed upon us. But now at this point is where we have to start taking responsibility, and is where most of us don't want to excel, and where the ones that do are being put down by the ones that don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, bro. That was
Yeah.
deep. That was real. So I wanna get in touch with this, mental health awareness month. Shout out to the people that are going through it, but they figure out to find something to get through their day. Shout out to those people because life is hard, bro. And as a kid, you never think how it would be because you look at it as a kid would. You look at it as a big imagination. You're gonna be rich. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. And then when you get to about 20, 21, people will usually say 21 is still a kid. No, 21, you know some things, and like you start to realize, okay, the next chapter is here. Now I got to figure out um how life is. You know what I'm saying? So like, shout out to those people that figured it out when they continue to go, bro. Like mental health is something that we need to take care of, and I think our generation has worked a lot on that. Shout out to the millennials and the generation out there. I think we've gotten a lot better with that, and I think we're starting to see the problem. Therapy is the answer, not your friends. I say it again: therapy is the answer, not your friends. I have never gone to therapy, but I'm not gonna be ignorant or arrogant about it. If an opportunity and I feel like I need it, I would go. In this moment, I'm happy that I can progress what I'm doing right now. But shout out to those people, man, that's going through it, bro. And I'm gonna give y'all a hug. Spiritually, I'm with y'all there, and I just hope y'all can do it. But let's talk about it, bro. You see that mental health is changing our generation. You see that it's starting to be a success with us and with the younger generation. Why has it waited so long? Why are we starting to hear about it now?
I'm not really sure. I think maybe
Either,
just due
man.
in part to like maybe just due in part to the rapid knowledge that's able to spread, elsewhere in so many places. Maybe it's just that we have no choice finally but to look within, because what most people do and what collectively I think tends to happen is, first looking outward before looking internally. And you can give everybody a level of grace when it comes to that, when they're trying to, find the reasons for why they don't feel well, even though it sucks because sometimes people will outwardly point fingers or project or whatever. You can still kind of always, once you get to a certain point, you can give people a real sense of grace and understanding that even though they're struggling right now, they're struggling. They're trying to find a way, even though they're stuck right now in the part of the process which is not very pretty, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't really know why right now is
It's
happening so much,
strange though,
but
right? It's just, I mean, it's a good thing, but it's
yeah,
weird because like when we were younger, that was under the rug. Like you didn't
yeah,
go to
a lot,
therapy.
a lot.
You didn't you didn't go to therapy. You were called a girl, you were called a pussy, you were
Yeah,
called all these names. You weren't they didn't care about you. If you couldn't if you couldn't handle yourself mentally, even for kids, if you couldn't handle yourself mentally, like you're considered weak. And like that wasn't the thing when we were younger. Why is it it's so weird how that is the trend right now. It's a great trend. It's probably the best trend we have right now.
yeah.
But like it's weird because we didn't see that growing up. We That was under the rug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely was. And I struggled in therapy growing up too. I have to admit as well that I come from, well, I don't say I come from that, but my mother struggles, with depression as well, and I struggled with it too. Very much so growing up. And I didn't know that I was going through it young, but I saw what my mother was kind of going through, a lot. And I know she wouldn't mind me sharing her story today, but I didn't understand it. And as a kid, and as I grew up, of course, now I understand a lot more. And I think, like you said, whether it's a trend or not, it's a very strong trend. And it's one that we definitely need to continue because when I struggled in that area of my life is I remember that paradigm for everybody. Like I didn't want to be considered weak. And that's why that's a big reason why I struggled in therapy because I believed if I had to go through that I was considered weak in my own regard, you
Yeah.
know? So I closed up even more when I was, positively put in therapy for my benefit by my mother. I closed up even more because I wanted to believe the outside world telling me that meant I was going to be less of a man when I grow up. That meant I was weak in my own regard. But I didn't listen to my own mother who knew better and was trying to keep me in light. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Um I can't say I don't know. Like I definitely had some shitty moments in my life, but I don't know if it was depression. I really had a bad relationship with my dad. You know what I'm saying? Typical thing that happens in America, people, it's unfortunate, usually it's rare to see a black house home, like mother, father together. Unfortunately, I was a part of that stereotype. My dad wasn't around. But I had a when he did come around, it was hard for me to accept who he was. And that was a really big problem for me because um, you don't really see it's hard because I come from a family of women and like seeing a man, you know what I'm saying, was very rare. I had my uncle sometimes, which was helpful. I had my older cousins, which was helpful too. But it would have been nice, and like I struggle with that, bro. I struggle with that growing up, and like I was kind of a shitty kid at that. Like, people thought I was this good kid, but I was really a manipulator. I know how to manipulate people, and
it
like,
takes a
yeah,
lot to know.
it takes, and it was like I liked it. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah,
I realized I wasn't okay. You know what I'm saying? Because when I did manipulate people, I was like, damn, like, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
um, it, and I don't know if it was depression. I don't know what it was, but I was upset for a long time, bro. and stuff started adding on to that. You know, when you have a big problem, more problems add on to it. So little things were starting to add on to it, and then when I got to college, I would believe college. You know, I kind of was like forgave him because he dropped me off when I went to school. I thought that was really dope. Talked to him, forgave him, told him I love him, and it was like a big uh thing, a big weights that came off my shoulder, and
Yeah,
it felt good, bro. But that was one part of my life growing up that I had to defeat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
yeah,
happy I did it. Now I'm taking on new challenges that I'm living in Spain. You know, I love it out here. People are great, but I still get that sense of loneliness sometimes,
mm,
and sometimes it could be challenging. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know how to speak the language,
sure,
pretty good. I know how to get around. But and you know the people I meet out here are really nice people, but like still that sense of like you know
togetherness.
they can't relate to that level.
Yeah,
And you know I have some really close people out here, and like I relate to them in some ways, but there's like something that they just can't, and like that so that part gets to me, and like it's a sense of loneliness that I'm trying to overcome. I'm taking steps day by day.
yeah,
But it's tough, man. I also the positive side when I think about it, it's like you chose this life for a reason. This
yeah,
that's the positive side. So when I look at that side a lot, like yeah, this who else is gonna be living this like you know what I'm saying? Like I was chose to do it. And it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
it's you know what I'm saying, my brother too, whatever, but like a lot of us like Americans, a lot of us Americans in general, don't we are very homebody. Like a lot of my friends are homebody. My friends I went to college with, my friends I met when I was in Florida, my friends I met when I was in Maine, Vermont, they're all homebodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me being out here, it was just like, yo, this was a lot of people don't do this. Like, try it. And like
yeah,
sometimes it's a struggle, but like the positive side is like I look at that and I look up like, damn, I'm in a new place. Like it's time to explore. It's time to do that. So the curiosity comes out, but that sense of loneliness sometimes tends to play a part. I'm working on it, but it's a mental thing.
for sure.
Mental thing. Um, what do you think? How do you think? What do you think would be great tools for us, like the Black community, when it comes to mental health? Because we tend to be very stubborn on this. Like a lot of us, we talked about before, either call you a pussy, weak, whatever.
Yeah,
But we tend to go to therapy. It's not really heard of in our community. Why do you think that tends to be the problem? Because a lot of white people go to therapy. They do.
yeah,
They go to therapy.
it's true.
We tend to be the
A lot
race
of
that
very
is not.
successful people go to therapy.
Yeah, yeah. And why do you think that's the case?
Well, because they understand that mental health is key and maintaining that is key. They
Yeah.
understand that they understand that all right, part of what comes with the rush of the excitement and the energy and the resources it takes to open up a new business, right? They understand that that rush is going to need to come with rejuvenation time. That's going to be expended energy. They're going to need to rejuvenate from there. Mental health is going to be able to help you do that, right? When you start understanding that motivation is a finite source, right? It's not an infinite source. You're going to be motivated today, but you're going to wake up one day and feel like shit. You're not going to be motivated. So, what's
Right.
going to get you out of bed to continue in that process? It's not going to be motivation because when you have to force it, then the work that you're doing is not prime, right? But when you prime your mind with mental health, I think that's why they do it. And I'm speaking from a place where I kind of almost feel like a hypocrite because I take my mental health seriously. However, I still struggle to consistently see a therapist as an adult.
Mm.
And I've gone, dipped and dabbled a couple of times, and I do always see the benefit in what it would be if I used it consistently. However, I tend to still think I and this is something that other people go through as well. So there's an ability to relate. I tend to still have this mindset of like, I got this, I can handle this. I can DIY this. I can handle this at home. Kind of the same way that I tend to take my nutrition in my own hands, where I'm like, I'm not going to go to the doctor because I can take care of this at home and this works. However, mental health, I think, works a little bit differently, you
Yeah,
know? I can
definitely.
spend a lot of time at home, in my own place, but the same mind that created the issue can't unravel it, right? So, in what help am I really giving myself sometimes by spending all my time homebodying, trying to unravel a system that I tangled up in the first place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm definitely speaking from a place of needing to or understanding that more and wanting to put more application into it. Um, yeah, so that's my answer on that. I think that maybe
Do
a lot of
you
people just still.
do you believe in like psychedelics? I know a lot of people that are trying a couple things like the ayahuasca. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Psychedelics like I'm not gonna say they're probably gonna blurt this out on YouTube, whatever. We're gonna say tree. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
All right. Yeah, I got.
CBD. Uh, do you use these type of CBD? Not It's not really psychedelic, but like tree. Shrooms, stuff like this. Do you think this has a what do you think the benefits are, and what do you think it can do for mental health, and what do you think it can how do you think it can be a problem? Because me, I'm a pot smoker. I love it. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. To me, it puts me in a good place. I can train on it. I go to the gym. I go for a run.
Yeah.
I can pretty much do anything on it. But
Yeah.
like for me, it's just when I do it. When I listen to music, I listen to like specific sounds that I wouldn't hear when I'm
Yeah.
normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
specific things. I see specific things. I think of specific things when I'm on it. So I think it helps in this way, and
Mhm.
I don't think of bad things. It's like a good benefit. But what is your opinion? And do you use it, or do you use any type of like healing to help you get through your process?
Um, so I have journeyed with ayahuasca. And that was a trip that I took to Peru
Let
to
me let
go.
me let me interrupt you real quick. My bad, my bad. Let me interrupt you real quick. I heard about that. That's why I heard that you took it. I heard
Yeah,
that you took it.
yeah,
Christian told me. Shout out to Christian, by the way.
yeah, yeah. Shout out. Yeah,
Christian told me that you took it. I wanted to hear it from you
yeah,
because I think he went to a resort and he took a little bit of it, but he had some tree before that, and I heard you're not supposed to have anything before it. But
yeah.
tell me about it, man. My bad for interrupting you. Tell me about it.
No, no, it's all good. So yeah, I went to Peru back a while ago. I think it was like 2018 or something like that. And beforehand doing it, I had done a bunch of research because I had watched this documentary where ayahuasca, apples, and marijuana were included, and it was about how plants are conscious and about how they consciously use or team up, supposedly aim to team up with the consciousness of humans to either enhance themselves to grow or to get across messages, let's say, right? It was a pretty cool documentary. I don't think it was just simply called Botany. It must be like Botany documentary from like 2016. But so I went and it was as authentic as you can get. We were out in the forest or no, I mean, up in the mountains, and we hiked deep into territory that was just local indigenous territory, right? So we saw the vine process being, cut and boiled down, everything along those lines. Um,
That's dope.
now, That was one portion of the trip. Now, another portion of the trip, we took it, or I took it, with a group of people. And I love the experience that I had. I definitely got the questions answered that I went for. I
Mhm.
definitely will say that. But what I will say is that you have to prepare yourself if you're going to use and team up with and partner with ayahuasca. You've got to prepare yourself to potentially drop in a hurry all of the things that you think you understand about the world itself, right? And I'm not saying that it's because ayahuasca is going to give you truth, but or untruth. I'm just saying it's going to open up your eyes to what is around you, right? And some of the things that might be around you might be, untruthful things, which you might think are truth. You know what I mean? And that's all kind of where it gets to be like an individual journey, as it is with everybody. I was there in a group before taking it by myself in a group. I
Did you know
remember being
anybody in that
in
group?
and out.
Did you know
Say again?
anybody? Did you know anybody in that group?
No,
You
no,
know
no.
any?
I flew to Peru on my own. I took one plane into Lima and then another plane into, oh, geez, it was so long ago. I know
Anybody? You know
it'll come,
anybody?
huh?
You know anybody?
I didn't know anybody. No, I just went with a backpack, like literally just a backpack. And
Yeah.
for some reason, I thought like Peru was gonna be like, you know, like mad warm, kind of like, you know what I mean? So I
Oh,
traveled
no,
with like,
no, 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 no,
like
no, no.
like t-shirt and shorts, and I probably bought like one long sleeve. You know what I'm saying? So when I got there, I was like, I had to buy one of the ponchos, which I still have today. I still use, and just kind of stay
It's
warm.
homemade. It's beautiful. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a beautiful, wonderful trip. Now there's a spiritual side of it, and depending on how seriously you take that, I would just, be a little bit careful because at the time I wasn't rooted in spirit and God the way that I am today. And at the time that I was using ayahuasca, the people that were facilitating the space, right? The shamans, right? They were calling upon, gods that or God's little g, that, you have to kind of discern if that's what you want to be guiding your spiritual journey because some things that I think people don't necessarily look into when they think about, oh, I'm going to go take this psychedelic or, oh, I'm going to go do this. And I'll be honest, I was one of those people as well. Some things people don't look into is the fact that you are opening up yourself into the unseen realm for nearly any and all spirits to interact with, interject with, partner with, to get close to you, right? So you have to discern the space that you're around and the source of power that's being called upon to facilitate your space. And that's something that then I wasn't focused on because of other reasons. Now I would now as long as it was purely rooted in the spiritual faith and path that I choose and take and believe, and believe I would recommend for all people in life, but never would impose upon, it would only work for me if it was in line with that, if that made sense.
Damn, yo. And so, when you took this, how did you feel in general? Like, was it an outer body experience? Did you feel like you were trying to? Did you feel like after you took it, you connected with something you were missing with in your life? Like, how did you feel?
No, I mean, so there were three. There were three journeys, right? And when you let me just, I'm sorry I bantered you with detail. So when you drink ayahuasca, at least in my experience, drink like a little bit. It's not even like a whole cup, you know. We drink a little bit, and this experience is unlike when somebody will take like artificial DMT, where they'll be in a heightened spiritual realm or state for a few minutes. With ayahuasca, you'll be there for a few hours, right? And you'll be in and out kind of consciousness space, right? Now, the space is always facilitated by a shaman because, again, drinking this opens you up kind of in a forced way spiritually, and it was kind of spooky in that way. Like when people would start just being served, you would start hearing like the dogs around all the villages, like just going nuts, and
What?
nothing was even
You said
happening
nothing.
yet, like
What?
little kind of, little things like that that you kind of, you can't like say, okay, that's dead proof, but if you're looking around, you can kind of see like something's changing. So
Damn,
anyway, my
damn.
first experience, I went because I was highly depressed, highly angry, highly like dangerous to myself and others. And I wanted to get this like anger that I felt in me
You gotta do
out.
something. You have to do something. Yeah, I feel you.
I didn't care though, Ray. I didn't care how it happened. I didn't care what it looked like. I didn't care why it was there. I just said, take it out. But
Yeah,
my first journey was me getting taught in ways, without giving you all the details, me getting taught in ways uh, that it wasn't going to be like that. I journeyed, and I'm the type of person that like usually I need to take a little bit more of things than others to kind of feel things. And
yeah,
so I didn't slip into consciousness with it until almost the very end of the session. And when I did, I saw what I was looking for. I saw a lot of things, but I just got the note that it wasn't going to happen just by me drinking something and then it going away. Right.
yeah,
So, next journey, the next day, I drank again, but I changed my approach and I asked for guidance from ayahuasca. And the reason why what Christian was saying is it didn't work is that ayahuasca is what they call a jealous healer, a jealous vine, kind of the same way that you'll hear our God is a jealous God, right? And only wants us to worship him, right? Ayahuasca itself, they say, is a jealous healer. And of the feminine nature. So when it works with you, it wants to be the only one facilitating or taking you on the journey of healing. And so marijuana itself, considered another healing or opening or conscious enhancing plant, is just kind of it's there and it's not helping the process, right? um and so I'll tell you kind of the other things. I'll skim through this last part. Second journey, I drank, I changed my approach, and I asked for guidance. I said, show me what I need to see, not what I want to see, right? Certain things along those lines. Speak to me and communicate with me in a language that I can easily understand and discern, right? And decipher. And I asked for these things. And I got same notice. I saw the different things. I saw what I needed to see, and I saw that it was going to be needed to be cared with love and care, right? And then the third session, I feel like I got to sit in front of the feet of God and ask the questions that I needed to ask. And I asked like dead questions like, does this mean, is this to what was being presented to me as God, right? And I got those answers at that time and I felt fulfilled. um, what more can I say? It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey, and nothing was wrong with it. It's just that when I got back to the States, I was in such a heightened spiritual state there, during it and off of it, that getting back to the States, you immediately see the clusterfuck of spiritual energy that the States is. I fly back into JFK, I'm in the middle of JFK. I'm coming riding back into CT. There's nothing but traffic and hostility, left and right to you, and you're so much more sensitive to that, you know? But when you come home, the dreams persisted for a long time. The communication persisted kind of for a long time. And still the lessons still persist today for a long time. Um, and I think I was lucky, but I know people struggled with their journeys because they didn't follow the guidelines of what they should do. They ate bacon the day before, they still had in their system a whole bunch of red meat and uh, you know, uh, a, a whole bunch of other stuff that wasn't recommended or whatever it may be. And I don't know the science behind those things. I just knew that I wanted to follow it and get the best that I could get out of the experience. Um, but so what they say is when you drink ayahuasca, it's basically just you need to have a plant-based diet for at least like 2 weeks or a month before you go. Release all the unrefined sugars from your body, all the unnatural sugars, the meat. Don't smoke marijuana, and your experience will be facilitated easier. And some people follow it, and some don't.
Mm, mm. And what are your thoughts on marijuana?
Smoke every day.
Every day.
Like you, I
Tree.
do.
You gotta say tree. Tree. My bad. What are your
Tree.
thoughts on
Oh yeah. My bad. I think I went down that route.
that?
I smoke tree every day. I smoke tree every day. And just a little bit, not like I used to. I smoke a little bit before I work out.
Yo,
And
isn't it the
like,
best? Isn't it the best, bro?
it's the best. It's the
Bro,
best.
it feels like
And
it feels like, yo, when you're doing a heavy set or when you're doing repetitions, not even a heavy set, you feel like you can do more because
yeah,
your body becomes one with the weight. You feel everything. You feel everything clenching up. You feel the blood pump. You feel everything, and that's
yeah,
the reason why I love to work out when I'm smoking tree too.
yeah.
Okay, so you smoke it in the morning. You do a workout. What do you go back to it, or is that the only time you do it?
I,
In the,
s- I, s- I smoke at night sometimes before I go to sleep. I'm a father, and it's like, and I'm an active father. So, I have that and I got a lot of people working a lot and got a lot of things going on like everybody. So it's my form of medication and relaxation. It helps me for the gym and it prompts me for the day. And I don't rely on it. I don't depend on it. But when I use it because I know I can afford it, not financially. Of course I can financially, but I can afford it mentally, I can afford it energetically, and I can afford it by like self-reliance.
yeah,
Um,
you know what, yo, I agree with you. With how it can affect you. I agree with you on that. One thing I do not like though is when motherfuckers. I'm gonna say it like that. Motherfuckers. When motherfuckers talk about it's not beneficial or they say negative things like oh you because like for me I'm a chronic smoker. I smoke all the time,
yeah,
but people are always when they hear that they're just like oh man, like they feel like some certain way. Like, no, I still go to the gym. I
yeah,
run.
yeah,
I do things. It's not there's no it's a myth. Like what you heard
yeah,
is a myth. It's alcohol you need to be worried about. And
yeah,
like I hate when people have this perception of what it is to where they don't even know what it is because they don't know the benefits. Like it that gets under my skin because it's not true. If you grow it, if you know the science behind it, it's very beneficial. And to be honest, bro, if we can have drinks be illegal and people just smoke weed, there'll be less problems in the world. I am I'm a I have to say that.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's more because it causes you to look more into self. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I think when people stop looking, like I said, outwardly for their problems all the time, and they can look internally, they can see where a lot of times we cause our own drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to mental health awareness, like the biggest reminder I have of mine is my arm because I've I've struggled and I've tried to commit suicide, real suicide, I would say, twice. So I've got this big scar right here. And I bled out on a hotel floor. When I say I bled out, I mean like foaming blood on the carpet. And I
That's
felt
weird,
I
bro.
felt that even though I wanted to give up my life, every time I tried, I just ended up not when I felt like not dying when I felt like I should have. So I remember I was since I felt like I wasn't going to die and I didn't want to do drastic things to be found in a certain way. I wanted to destroy myself because I was angry at myself for myself. And I was angry at God for not supposedly wanting me. Right. And so what I did was I wanted to destroy myself. And so I went and I started destroying myself to get rid of all the stories that I told here to make myself unrecognizable. And this for me is the biggest reminder of mental health and why it is so important because and why looking internally why I say is so important because if you don't look internally and you're looking always at the outside world, you'll never find the source that created you and the love that's there and you'll never have that love for yourself. So with mental health awareness, like you said with therapy, whatever you need to do, don't always lean on your friends, but whatever you need to do, get that out there and get there for mental health. psychedelics, all of this stuff will they can help, but the real source that you will lean on, you'll find internally and not externally. That's from my experience, and to give that to everybody for sure.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. And
Yeah,
I'm glad you're still here with us, bro. For real, bro.
I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, man. If you can find something and you can find something you can work on it by looking forward to life every day, but try to find something. I think find something that you're willing to do, be consistent with it, and focus on that. It's important to focus in the now. I know it's very hard, man, because sometimes I focus on the future. I focus on things that happened in the past, but it is crucial to focus on the things in the now. And I think when you focus now, you enjoy the present so much. And like if it comes to psychedelics, if it comes to things that you know is going to help you, I think it is necessary to take advantage of that. And you know you better than you, and I think it's important to love you and cherish. Yeah, so I appreciate you for sharing that. Because that is true. Like if you can find something that is going to benefit you, try it because that can switch your mind to a new focus. And I think it's important to be present, be in the now, because future you can't control the future, and the past is what happened in the past. And if you take that and you understand that type of concept, that kind of can seduce the things that you're thinking and the things that are weighing heavy on you. It's very difficult, man, but I think if you understand what psychedelics are and you adventure with it, why not? It could be a game changer. I use it, you use it. I think it's beneficial for us and it works really well. So if you want to dive into it a little bit. Don't go all out. You have your friend. If you have a friend that does it, try it. You know what I'm saying? Dive into it a little bit and see where it goes. But it's important to find something because at the end of the day, people are there with you, but at the end of the day, it's only you, and you are going to save you, and you are going to do the things that you have to do for you. So I think it's important to take advantage of that. Thanks again for sharing that, bro, because that was needed. And like again, like I said, bro, I'm happy that you were able to overcome that, bro, and it is a blessing to still have you here, bro, for real. But uh yeah, man, find something you can do and try it, man. Don't be curious. Curiosity also limits mental health. Curiosity is a big part and a big key to eliminating mental health. So be curious and try new things and see where it takes you. I think that's important.
yeah,
Um, so I wanted to ask you one more thing before we close it out.
yeah,
Uh, I wanted to ask you, you know, with a lot of things happening in the United States, with the violence, with the gun violence, with um, you know, our communities tending to always be the main cause, and it's unfortunate, bro, because um, it's unfortunate because it's been going on for a long time, and you know, it continues to happen. I'm not gonna say it's usually us killing us because we didn't put ourselves in that type of environment in the first place. So I can't say that, but still, we are somewhat the cause of that problem too. And why does that continue to be the case? And like, why haven't we bounced back from it? Why do we continue to hear all these crazy deaths that are going on? Due to gun violence. And I'm talking about mass shootings as well, but I want to get your opinion on our community. I want you to talk about the mass shootings a little bit.
I think that our community, I think that the biggest tragedy and probably one of the source tragedies of our community is that we've lost our identity. through all of these generations of slavery, programming, violence, imposition, put upon us. I think that we've lost our identity and we seek to have that identity in like very shallow things, like people really, the reason why people go so hard for the gang is because they identify themselves with that and as that to a certain extent, right? They put their faith in that, and almost in a sense, I don't want to say worship, because when people think of worship they think of bowing down, but
Yeah.
worship in a sense is also living by, following by, right? Living by the gun, dying by the gun, right? And so many people do that because identity tells them that that's what Black people are like, right? Identity tells them that, you know, this is what you should do. These are the people that love me, that they're gonna take care of me, blah 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 blah. Blah. And they're just people who are like them, just uneducated, right? They're not bad people. We're not bad people. We're uneducated, right? We're uneducated, and we don't have, not all of us have our identity molded in the right things. We have it in music, right? And music is just a prescription pill, and a prescription pill is seemingly helping you, seemingly giving you something, but most of the time is killing you. What is our music really doing for us, right? So it's a cacophony, a mixture of so many different things. And what I really think it boils down to is that so many people lack identity in who they are, that they put it in minor things, which have them making stupid and minor decisions in their lives in order to uphold that identity and order to uphold what they're doing. Some of these people who are, the greatest in their gangs, let's say, and they risk everything. They do that because they've sold themselves on that's who they are or who they've got to be. But easily sell themselves on an opposite story and be just as murderous in a beneficial way in their field, instead of a negative way in the street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a lot why that is still going on, and because we still see our brothers as enemies.
Yeah.
We don't respect ourselves. We don't respect ourselves. Why? Because that identity is missing within ourselves. So we get out on the street and we don't respect our brothers. We say we do because they're who's giving us strength and security and comfort in the moment. But the moment it's convenient for us, somebody gonna cross over, cross somebody, do somebody wrong, right? Right. That's exactly why. Because we don't respect ourselves, but we want the rest of the races out there to respect us. And what pisses me off is that whenever there's an argument with another race about anything else, they just want to pull the slavery and racism card. That's the only thing some of our people can lean on, and it's a weak argument after some point. I'm
We got
sorry to say it. After some point, it's a weak argument, and you have to start focusing on what it is right now within you that is still perpetuating some of these murderous mindsets, paradigms, actions, and behaviors.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And I do talk about race a little bit with people I know out here, but I never, one thing I can tell you is when I talk about race, I'm talking to them. I'm not talking about them. And I always tell them that, listen, when we talk about race, I want you to know that I'm talking about the history. I'm
Yeah,
not talking about you. I'm not calling you racist. I'm
yeah,
not calling.
yeah,
I think that is a mis I think that is just like a misconcept that people do not understand when some people are talking about racism. We are talking about the history. We're talking about some of the problems that are going on now. We're not talking directly to you. We're talking at you. We're trying to tell you to listen, understand. And that's the thing I try to get across to a lot of people out here that I talk to about that. Listen, I want to make one thing clear. I'm not. This is not against you. It's just the history. That's it.
yeah,
Because I don't think, like you said, I don't think it's right to shove that on down somebody's throat. It's a sign of weakness. It's not
yeah,
a. It's that. That's not how it should be. That's not how things should go about. And like I think that is. is stupid, bro. And I think
Yeah.
we need to look at
It's
the
a cop
bigger
out.
problem, man.
It's a cop out, in my opinion. I mean, it happened.
It's a
It
cop out.
happened. You know what I mean? It happened. But at a certain extent, it's a cop out. Like the same way for weed smokers, and a lot of weed smokers don't want to hear this. All right.
Yeah.
After At a certain point, it's avoidance. At a certain point, it is avoidance, the use. It's not healing. It's not getting my mind right. It's not, it's not. You're not healing by going home and smoking and shutting off the world every day and telling yourself that you are healing. You're not. At some point, you're just avoiding the things that you do have to think about with a sober mind. And there
Yes.
does tend to be a lot of those things that you need to do on a sober mind that you might be able to do while smoking, but it's not going to take you to where you need to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I agree with you
So
on that.
so it's the same thing with our community as well. At some point, the argument of slavery, racism, all of that, it's just avoidance for you to get off your ass and make something of yourself to the point where you don't have to scream racism, racism, racism as
Yeah.
a reason why you're still failing. The fact of the fucking matter is our communities still are where they are. We can't do anything about what happened. So are we going to keep them, or are we going to get off our ass and either individually and or collectively enhance?
We gotta get together first before that happens.
Yeah.
That's the number one step. That we can't get together. That none of this shit works. And I hate to sound cliche, corny, cheesy, or whatever, but if we can't get it together and like give each other a hug, none of this shit is gonna work. None of it's gonna work. And I one thing I can't I one thing I have to agree on is it's not our fault that we're like that.
Yeah.
That is one thing. But now that we understand that, we got to get past that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we gotta work on hugging before we go out and do these things. I think that's the most important. It's the most basic thing, but
It
it's the
might
most,
be.
yeah.
It
So
might be.
so what about my last thing? We just had another well probably about a month ago we had another shooting in Tennessee. Um when does this stop, bro? Like when does this stop when it comes to mass shootings, gun control? Why does this continue to be a problem in the States? And why do we continue to hear this every what a couple years ago it was like how many do we have, like 200 shootings? I could be wrong. I could be doing the numbers could be wrong.
Mm.
But why does this continue to be a thing? Because now you see schools training kids to get under the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that. I think we had code red, but it was nothing like intense like this.
Yeah.
Now
Like bombs.
nowadays, you have kids going under the desk, hiding in drawers, whatever like that. But like, it's gotten to a point where it's like, yo, do we take the guns away? How do we go about it? Because it's a problem, man. We lose innocent lives all the time, and to sometimes young kids committing these crimes, to
Mm.
people that are not loved by their parents, to people that have been abused, sexually assaulted, whatever. Why does this continue to be the case, and why haven't we put a stop to it?
Um. So I tend not to get into these conversations too much because of
Yeah,
my
we just doing an opinion.
yeah
We're not
my
professionals.
view. Yeah. My view about it is that there's potential reasons behind all of these and every single one of them individually that we may just not ever know. And I thought that when I learned, and forgive me because I'm forgetting his name right now, rest in peace. When I learned about the shooting in Buffalo, I learned that one of the people that was shot and killed in Buffalo was a security guard outside that grocery store. I believe, yeah, he was a security guard there, or he either ventured there on a scheduled basis at that
Mm,
time. He was building he was building a water collection, or he was building a machine that was able to run off of water, an engine that was able to run off of water, something along those lines, something very deep. I forget. Do the research. It's still document a short documentary about him. And when I remember looking into that information, I was kind of like, you really never know. You never know with this country, this system, when everything seems to be, they put it in your face as this is what it is, but really, what is it? Like we talked about the war on crack. I don't believe the war on crack was really just for drugs. I believe they were presenting us their problem, but they were really solving a different issue that they had, right? Which is that they didn't want, in my opinion, what it was, they didn't want the black community to excel again after bombing Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? They didn't want us to grow and da da da. So could that shooting in Buffalo could have been just to eliminate a black man that was building a very significant machine for our energy systems? I don't know. I kind of stopped watching all of these and I unplugged from social media because it just got to be too emotionally expensive.
It's so toxic. So
Um, and I don't advocate like just putting your head in the dirt. I don't advocate that and just like, you know, not listening and trying to ignore what's happening in our world.
but
It
the sad thing though, how do we communicate now? Because
Yeah,
social media is a tool. If I listened to this podcast that Shaq was on, um, Shaq was talking about during quarantine he would use social media kind of like a tool. So he would either go on social media either to support what he was doing, support his friends, or let people know that there was an event. He never did anything to like stay on it. Like he if he caught himself scrolling through it, he would just like disconnect and get off it.
yeah,
So I kinda use that tool. Like now I'm using Instagram less. I do like Instagram, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I use it less. So I kind of use it as a tool. So for an example, my friend, if my one of my friends puts a video or a photo on there, I put it on my story just to say, "Yo, go check out this person's page," or I do my business, I support whatever. But
yeah,
it's toxic, bro. But how do we become social without social media? Because now, if you want to take a break from it, you got people communicating with you all the time on Facebook, on Instagram, and like if
yeah,
you don't want to look at it, they're feeling like, "Yo, you're not talking to me." It's ignorance, but like it's like, "Yo, you're trying to take a break." Like it's so hard to
yeah,
get away from social
yeah,
media. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I think like that comes with like a certain part of that comes with a level of thick-skinnedness or whatever you want to call it, because you gotta
Yeah.
just be able to like, look, I don't know. I've just been able to, because my level of depression has been so high in the past that I didn't have any time to care about what anybody thought about me not communicating with them.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of my friends now know me for, if they can't find me, they know I'm okay, but they know I'm just I'm. So you gotta kind of, it's kind of like treat people how to treat you. Like I don't want people like when, like in doing the Moss plug. I love doing the Moss plug, but I do it more privately now because it got to the point where I want to extend myself and help my community out, but it got to the point where people were beginning to expect me to answer and be there all of the time, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm still providing, but I'm providing in a way because I wasn't doing the Moss plug to be rich or to be wealthy. I was doing it to help out in a way that I feel I'm doing it in that way. So have a little bit of a thick skin, and like just like people will learn eventually. And if they're the type of people that drop off because you're not there to answer their messages, then they weren't solid to begin with. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
But you are right though. Like if without social media, how do you communicate on the things going on? I mean, maybe you kind of start thinking about it and just start focusing local first, and do what you can in your local community. I know in New London there's enough gun violence and enough violence out here, etc. And there's a lot of things that can be done to bring people together and to potentially make sure that a mass shooting doesn't happen in this area. Um, so we can only do for others what we can first do for ourselves. Um, we can only first do for the world what we can then first do for our community, I'm sure, right?
Mm.
So everything to me is like an inward outward system. And if you can kind of look at everything like business, if it works like that out here, you can kind of micro scale things down practically to kind of see how things are working. Individually we find our hearts, then we're compelled, and everything that we do helps other people find their hearts and source. Locally we do that, then it spreads.
Yeah. Before we close it out, can let me ask you a little bit about the Moss plug. I actually had C Moss 3 months ago. I used it quickly, bro. I had a little because it's not normal out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had like a little peanut butter jar of sea moss and I put it in my smoothie.
Mhm.
Um, didn't taste really good, but I felt it was weird. Like my third day having it, I felt like a different like I felt a little bit more energetic. My digestion was really good, even though I do eat pineapples and papaya all the time. But the digestion was really good. Everything I ate was so smooth.
Mhm.
Um, what is the next step for you, and how do you want to move? Because I know last time we talked, you talked about potentially getting more customers, going out of Connecticut, going into like Mass, New York. What are you doing with it right now, and what is the future for your business?
So right now, what we're doing is still the same local plan. I'm still doing personal deliveries and personal plans for people
That's
when it
real
comes.
too, by the way. I respect that. That's real.
I
Person.
appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Definitely. And the reason why I'm not personally shipping it out in jar made is because it's very complicated to ship a cold product that needs to be kept cold, and put in glass. So I opt for people to buy it from me raw so they can make it at home. Because again, it's not my ambition to use the Moss plug to be my main industry. I do it because I'm connected to it. It's easy for me to do, and I want to keep it easy for me to do.
Mhm.
So in expansion, I realized that it's just going to be too difficult, too stressful for me among the other things that I'm working in my life to ship it in jars. But I do ship raw. So we're just gonna kind of continue that role, and I'm just gonna be the vessel for the plug for people in my local community, and
Can't wait
my
to go
local surrounding
international, bro. I
areas.
can't lie. I can't wait to go international, bro.
I
Because
appreciate it.
I would like to get some of the product too if I could.
Yeah, definitely. I can do that for you, bro. I'm sure I can arrange that for you. Absolutely. That's not a
Are you
problem.
serious?
Yeah, I mean, my partner lives in Germany. I have a girlfriend that lives in the
Oh
that lives
yeah, that's right.
in
Your girl's from
yeah,
Germany. That's right. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we do ship things, back and forth and stuff like that. So it shouldn't be a problem. There's
Oh, let's get it then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I probably, like I said, won't be able to ship it made for you, but you can easily make it and I'll guide you, with exactly what to do. It's not a
Oh,
long process.
say less. Say less.
Yeah,
All right. We'll get in touch, man. Because I liked it when I used it. It tastes a little weird, but like
yeah.
felt the benefits right away. Nah, we'll get in touch about that,
Yeah,
yo.
yeah. Let's do that. Just, send me your info, and we'll get that going. In all honesty, I think part of the reason why I wake up so early every morning or wake up on the dot, and even though I go to sleep relatively, if I tell you if I go to sleep at 12 or 1, I'm still waking up at that time, you know? And I think the reason why I do is because I got a lot of energy, and a lot of that I do equate to the moss that I take every day. I really, really do. The reason
Yo,
why,
so
go ahead.
yeah, so we'll keep in touch about that. That's
Yeah.
I thought I would have to like you would have to probably do more around the local area and then ship internationally. But if you're saying it like you just told me, I would like
Yeah.
to get my hands on it soon, bro. If
Yeah,
you can.
yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Because I got some here raw, ready to go right now. So and I do have a shipment that I have to make in the next upcoming days. So I got you fresh stuff, and then we can make sure you're taken care of, man. That's not a problem. I love
Yeah,
talking.
man, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. And if
definitely.
I don't know if you have PayPal, we can do PayPal.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out, man. We'll
All
figure it
right,
out.
cool,
Don't worry
cool,
about
cool,
it.
man. Cool,
All right.
yo, well, yo, it was nice having you on the show, brother. And bro, I'm happy that you were able to take your time out to talk today. And yo, of course, we're gonna have you back on, man. Just
Appreciate it.
yo, the conversations are always good. I learned so much from you. I do so much research after, and like I kind of after you talked to me last time about Dr. CB, I kind of did a little bit of research about him. I knew about him a little bit before because of Nipsey and his lyrics. So I did, but like I didn't know about him as much as what you told me before. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you, man. Every time we talk, I learned something, and I learned something from this conversation, bro. And I appreciate you for
thanks.
taking time out, bro. And I hope you have a great week. I hope this upcoming week is gonna be better than your last week. And
Just
I hope you just go into it killing it, bro, and continue to live day by day, hour by hour, bro.
appreciate you, my man. Same way,
Yes,
same way.
sir.
Absolutely, bro. I
Yes,
wish
sir.
all the best for you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, bro. Well, I'm gonna go, bro. I'm about to go to the gym.
Already.
Take care, man. This is Just a Thought podcast. We
Yeah.
are yes.
Take care, y'all.